Greetings! Neil from No Plot Blog here, and this is episode 2 of Let's Play Minecraft Regrowth. In this episode, we're going to be getting some grass growing in this world again. We're going to take a look at the crops that I've gotten started here, go over the features of Agricraft, and possibly get started on some fishing. Now, in our last episode, we went ahead and I went ahead between episodes here and turned in grasping at straws where we got our carrot seeds, our potato seeds, and our wheat seeds. I've gone ahead and mutated some of that to go ahead and get our belladonna and our sugarcane. Now, this mod pack uses Agricraft, and Agricraft is actually replacing vanilla farming for the sake of this mod pack. Agricraft works pretty simply. You make these crop sticks here, which is simply a matter of... sticks would be helpful, wouldn't they? Let me grab some sticks here so I can demonstrate. So it's simply a matter of laying 4 sticks in your crafting table like so, and that gives you 4 crafting sticks. With that, you can come over to any piece of tilled land, or in the case of sand or garden soil, you don't necessarily have to till it. You come over to any piece of tilled land and just place it down, and that'll allow you to plant seeds on top of it. Now, if you plant one on top of another, that gives you these double posts here, and that allows your crops to spread. And as crops spread, they will gain levels. Crops have stats in growth, gain, and strength. Growth determines how fast your crop will grow. Gain is how much you will get when you harvest your crop. And strength mainly has to do with its resilience against weeds, which have been disabled in this mod pack, so doesn't really make a big difference. Another interesting property of crop spreading is if you place 2 crops in a corner like so, and have these double posts down, there's a chance they will spread into one another, creating an entirely new crop, like we have here. Carrots and wheat will make sugarcane. Wheat and potatoes will make pumpkins. And potatoes with belladonna make mandrake, which we have over here. Now we're going to go ahead and take one of these pasture seeds that we've got, lay it down on the ground here so we can get some grass growing. Because we want everything to be nice and clean and pretty. Now we do have some new quests here. We're going to do buckets of stuff when the sun sets here. But let's go ahead and do flowering. Flowering wants us to get 2 mystic white flowers. And currently the only way to get mystic flowers is with floral fertilizer, which you get from breaking dead grass. Now, everything to do with fertilizers, mutation, what have you, is on an RNG. So there is a chance when we lay this down that we won't get a white flower, but we did get one. So, lucky for us. Go ahead and break these. We do need 2 of them. So let's see, not in that batch. And not in that batch, but we did get a dark green, which will come in handy for another one of our quests. Nope. And, yep, looks like we're not getting our 2 whites. That's okay, though. We're going to go ahead and put these flowers over in this chest that I've made over here. Also put our extra seeds in there. We'll put our whites in there for right now. It really wants us to do that, to open other stuff up. Now, I was going to wait till sunset, but let's go ahead and make our clay bucket. So clay buckets work just like iron buckets, but since we don't have iron in the world, we have to make them out of clay. So 3 clay laid down just like an iron bucket, and then put it in your furnace with a little bit of fuel would help. And that'll fire up to create a fired bucket. Now, the only real difference between a clay bucket and an iron bucket is a clay bucket holds half as much. So where with an iron bucket we normally would hold 1,000 millibuckets worth of material, with a clay bucket we can only hold 500. We'll go ahead and turn in that quest, which will give us bone meal and dirt. Then move on to Not Farmville 3. Now the first part of Not Farmville 3 wants us to make crop sticks, which obviously we've already done. The second part of it wants us to collect some wheat, like so, and some mandrake root, like so, and rewards us with more bone meal. We're going to burn through a lot of that as we go through this. Now we build up a lot of excess seeds while we're doing this, and to know what level our seeds have gotten to requires a seed analyzer, and we want to get everything level capped, which is to say level 10 in each of their stats. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some sand in here, because to make that we're going to need some glass panes. While we're waiting for that, we also have this Mutundus quest. And to make Mutundus, we need bone meal. We'll need another mandrake root, which I'll go ahead and get here. We'll need 4 pieces of ash, and we'll need something green, either cactus dye, or green dye, or green floral powder, which is what we're going to end up using. Because right now that's what we have access to. So for this, I'm going to grab me some of these planks here. And as I mentioned before, these work just like normal planks, except you can't put them anywhere. So if we lay 3 across the bottom there, we'll get an oak wood slab. And we can actually cheat that to get oak slabs, but it's not really important for us right now. Now we take a bowl, one of these dead slabs, and a stick, and that's going to give us a mortar and pestle. And I'm just going to dump these extra bowls and some of this other stuff I'm not using right now. I'll hold on to those slabs. I'm going to use those in a little bit. And let's come out here and grab those green flowers that we got when we laid down our floral fertilizer. We're only going to need one of them for right now. We're going to combine that with our mortar and pestle. Oh, we're going to turn it into petals. Sorry. And then combine those petals with our mortar pestle to get green floral powder. I sometimes forget to take that out of the inventory. Let's go ahead and seal us in here because the sun is setting. But before I leave here and pause the video, let's grab our ash. And we're going to put down a bone meal in the center, mandrake root on either side, green on top and bottom, and then lay wood ash in the corners. And that gives us Mutundus. And for our reward, we're rewarded with 4 Mutundus, and typically I would take more Mutundus as the reward, but I'm going to go ahead and take the floral fertilizer, because we do need those white flowers. Now we have some tasks here that we can do before I pause the video for the night. Namely, we can make a super frame and a chisel. For this, we're going to need some sticks, which we've got. We're going to need another crafting table, and we're going to need a piece of flint. So let's go ahead and make the crafting table here. Then you take that crafting table and surround it with sticks, and you get a super crafting frame. For the chisel, we lay down a stick and a flint, and there's our chisel. Now the super crafting frame, I don't really get much use out of. When you lay it down, it presents you with this screen that you can put something in there, and the recipe will show up. And then, so long as you have that item in your inventory, when you click the super frame, it'll go ahead and do the recipe for you. If you don't have the item in the inventory, it'll tell you you're missing an ingredient. The only time I've really actually used that is when I'm making sand, which early on, the only way to make sand is to combine cracked sand with a bucket of water, which, needless to say, filling up a bucket of water, opening your inventory, putting them both on the grid, collecting the sand, pulling the bucket out of the crafting crafting grid, filling it again. It gets a little tedious. I found that I can just fill my inventory up with cracked sand, fill a couple of buckets with water, click that twice. Reason you click it twice is because there is a bug where, well, it's not really a bug just as much as the core mechanics of Minecraft, where it's going to look at it as you empty the bucket, so there will be a water flow in front. But the water flow doesn't actually exist, so when you collect it again with the bucket, it doesn't fill the bucket up. Now, the chisel, on the other hand, I use the chisel a lot. And what the chisel does is you feed it a material, and you can choose a different appearance for that material. And just as an example here, damaged cobblestone. And it looks so much nicer. I use that as foundation pieces when I'm building stuff. It looks really nice when you lay it down. I am going to go ahead and change that back to regular cobblestone because you can't always use the different visual stuff in recipes. We'll go ahead and turn in these quests. As a reward for this, we get 4 more super crafting frames. Yay. As a reward for the chisel, we get marble. And as you all know, I love marble. Marble is just, it looks great. I love to use it. I put it down in all of my decorative buildings. So we're going to go ahead and pause here for just a few minutes while we wait for the sun to come back up. And when we come back, we're going to try and get ourselves a sapling. So I'll see y'all in a minute. Okay, so we're back, and looks like we actually have some pumpkins growing here. That's more potatoes, but that's fine. So long as we have 1 seed is all we need to populate the crop. Now, I promised we were going to try and get some saplings. For this, we're going to need some bone meal and some mutundus. Let's place that down and come over to the tall grass here. And first thing we get is a hawthorn sapling. Beautiful. That's actually really nice because hawthorn is specific to witchery. And we're going to need one of each of the witchery. It wants us to get a non-witchery, or any 4 saplings. So we can go ahead and plant that and it will give us more saplings when it grows. Other than that, oh, and a Japanese maple shrub. That's nice too. Oh, I've got more mutundus here. Umber autumn sapling. Those are nice. And another Japanese maple shrub. So we'll just pick that up for future mutation. Let's go ahead and plant this one because I know that'll give us some good saplings to work with. And now we've got real wood. Break some of these leaves here, see if I can get some more saplings out of this thing. Well, normally these trees grow huge, kind of like oaks, and I normally get quite a few saplings, but I think this time I got none. Wasn't that unfortunate? Japanese maple shrub grows kind of weird. Let's plant the hawthorn. And we'll just kind of let that decay on its own. Now, this mod pack does not have fast decay. And there's actually a good reason for that. As we move through this mod pack, eventually we'll get the Horn of Canopy. And the Horn of Canopy will break all the leaves when we use it. So while we're waiting for that to fast decay, skeleton came down here last night, I'm going to go ahead and make our seed analyzer. So that when we are leveling our seeds, we can go ahead and analyze them and see if we have a 10-10-10 yet. And I should have this recipe memorized, but I don't believe I do. I'm going to need more planks. Let's go ahead and pull up the recipe. There we go. So it's plank, plank, slab, slab, pane of glass, and stick, stick, stick. And I did something wrong. Oh. This has to be some form of stone slab on top of a wood slab. And then plank, plank, pane of glass, and your sticks. And we'll go ahead and put this down. We can move it later. But for right now, we're going to put this down next to our crops here, so that when we harvest these, you notice I have them in kind of a U pattern here. When they get to the end, I pop them all, check them through the seed analyzer, and see if I have enough to consider that a permacrop. Now that should have given us the saplings we needed. Sure enough. And we get our choice. I'm going to go ahead and take birch, because I like the look of birch wood, and birch grows nicely for harvesting where it doesn't tend to branch out. We're also going to turn this in, which gives us our agriculture journal. We make room for the agricultural journal. We'll put those in there, and we'll go ahead and paste that in as well. And the agricultural journal just goes right here into the seed machine, and that way, as you level up seeds, you can keep track of what you've run through the analyzer. Now, would really like to leave all that there for mutation, but I need this grassy patch. So, I'm going to pull all these guys out, and we'll go ahead and put them in this chest over here. And all this will come in handy when I'm building my dream home, because I'm going to have a giant botanical garden there. So we'll have flowers and little shrub trees, and it'll be really nice. I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I put that floral fertilizer I got as a quest reward. Must be in the chest up here. And see if I can't get those other two. Yeah, there it is. Or that other white mystical plant that we need. So, nope. And nope. Nada. And there she is. Just go ahead and stash these other ones because we're not using them right now. I know my inventory is disgusting right now. It really is. And in between videos here, I'm going to work on building some more chests and getting this cleaned up and organized a little bit. Really, I'm kind of waiting for shelves so that I can have nice visual organization. This Modpack has, I believe it's called Upgraded Storage and Java. I'm not personally a big fan of Java, but Upgraded Storage actually offers some nice options. So with that done, we'll go ahead and put this floral fertilizer over here because we don't need it right now. And I don't really need that companion scroll either. And we're going to go ahead and turn in the quest for flowering. Growing Knowledge wants us to make a Lexica Botania. For that, we're going to need 3 pieces of sugarcane. and one of those flowers that we made that we don't have any use for right now. So let's go ahead and grab those. Not the green one. I kind of like to keep those around for dye. Pink, we're not going to use much of. There's not a whole lot of call for pink for some reason. And we're also going to combine that bone meal so it's not taking up so much space. We simply need a piece of paper and the flour to get our Lexica Botania. And that's going to give us more floral fertilizer. Yay! Now we got tons of it. And that brings us to flower power. And this is really where Botania starts opening up. To this point, it's giving us these little mystic flowers. But the Petal Apothecary is when we really first start to see the power that we're going to get from Botania. And we're going to need another one of these flowers here to get this done. I'm going to go ahead and take cyan. And this works out because the sun is setting. So we're going to seal ourselves in the house here. We're going to close this episode out making our Petal Apothecary. That way in the next episode we can go ahead and make that white daisy, those pure daisies, and start seeing the true power of Botania. Oh, wait. I need to convert that flower into petals first. There we go. You're going to put a petal in the center, which is where the apothecary draws its power from. Build your basin around it, and give it a base. And I did that wrong. There we go. And that gives us our Petal Apothecary. So next week, we'll put this down, we'll fill it up with some water, and we're going to make our pure daisy, which is necessary for making living wood and living rock, which are going to be integral to everything we do with Botania. So, until next week, if you've enjoyed this show, please hit the little subscribe button down there, hit the little like button over there. Be sure to check out the links below. We have a link to the Feed the Beast website, which is the program or the launcher that this mod pack can be found in. It is one of the listed third-party mod packs, so you don't even have to have pack code for it. We have a link to the No Plot blog below. Come on over. We talk about all sorts of interesting stuff. I do random reviews. Talk about just times I go out, and it is, as the name suggests, a blog with no plot to it whatsoever. So until next time, have fun and keep gaming.